Oh, hello everyone. My name is Mr. Zebron Ernest, a teacher at Al-Muntazir Islamic Seminary. Now today I'll be taking you through the lesson which is focusing on how to find area and perimeter of semicircle and quarter circle. By the way, let me start with definitions. What do we mean? What do we mean by saying a semicircle? What does it mean when we say a semicircle? So we say a semicircle is half of a circle. A semicircle is half of a circle. So we say semicircle. Semi means half. Semicircle is half of a circle. That is what it means by a semicircle. So when I say semicircle, I mean half of a circle. And what do we mean by saying a quarter circle? What do we mean by saying quarter circle? So when we say a quarter circle, quarter means 1/4. So quarter circle is 1/4 of a circle. So this is the definitions about when we say a semicircle and when we say a quarter circle. So you need to know the difference between the two. Okay, now today I'm going to teach you how do we find the area of semicircle and perimeter of semicircle. That is number one. But two, I will also teach you how to find the area of quarter circle and perimeter of a quarter circle, right? So by diagrams, when we say semicircle, that means you need to start drawing a circle. So let me show you semicircle. So a semicircle is when you have your circle like that. This is your circle. Okay, now is how it sounds. Semicircle is 1/2, is one half of a circle, is half of a circle. So I'm gonna take this circle, and divide it 2. So when you take that circle and you divide by 2, you'll be getting a diagram like that. Okay. Now this part, can you see that? All these ones here you see are what we call the semicircle. Now, let me move on with this diagram here. Let me move on with this diagram here. This is what we call a semicircle. Now, this semicircle here, the semicircle you can see here has got 2 parts. Semicircle you see here has got 2 parts. So this is what we call a semicircle. Now, a semicircle, like as I said earlier, is half of a circle. So semicircle. That is semicircle. Now, with this semicircle, I have this part here. I have this part here, which looks to me as being flat. Now, the flat portion, this flat portion here is known as the diameter, Okay, so the flat part here, this flat part is known as the diameter. It's known as the diameter. So the diameter is this part from this point here. Let me try to show it. It's okay, 1 minute. So a diameter is this part here, the flat part. The flat part of the semicircle is what we call a diameter. So the distance from that point here to this point here is what we call the diameter. So that's the first part. Now, this part here from this point to this point. But this time, of course, going on this side. This part here is what we call the curved part. Curved. It's curved, it's not flat. Curved part. So we have a semicircle has two parts, a flat part, which we call it a diameter, and a curved part, which we just call it like half of the circumference, Now, how do we find the area? How do we find the area of semicircle? So formula on how to find area of a semicircle. The area of a semicircle, like as I said, semicircle means half. So I should ask you, what is the area of a circle? So you can pause this video and try to go through the formulas which we discussed on how to find the area of a circle. Now, just to continue this video, area of a circle is pi r square. This is the formula for the area of a circle. Now, today, I'm talking about area of a semicircle. So I'm going to take the same formula, which is pi r square. Then I need to divide by 2. That is a formula for the area of a semicircle. How about perimeter of a semicircle? Perimeter of a semicircle. What does perimeter mean? When I say perimeter, what do you think I mean? So by default, we say perimeter is, how do we calculate perimeter of any shape? Perimeter of any shape. Perimeter of any shape, forget about perimeter of a semicircle or perimeter of whatever, perimeter of a parallelogram, perimeter of a triangle, perimeter of a rectangle, perimeter of a square, perimeter of any shape. Simply add all sides. Add all sides around the shape. I'm going to explain you what I mean. Around the given shape. So don't forget this. We don't have a formula for perimeter of, I don't know, perimeter of a rectangle, perimeter of a square, perimeter of a trapezium, perimeter of a, say, parallelogram, or whatever shape it is. Just look at the shape and see how many sides are there. So simply add all the sides around the shape. Now, if I'm looking for perimeter of a semicircle, I'm going to go to the semicircle and see how many sides are there. So a semicircle has 2 sides. A semicircle has 2 sides. When a semicircle has 2 sides, side 1 is this side which is flat. That is your diameter. So the first part of a semicircle is the diameter itself. The second part is this part here, which is circular. Okay? So what is the perimeter of a semicircle? Perimeter of a semicircle is equal to the diameter, because perimeter, like as I said, is adding all the sides. So perimeter of a semicircle equals to the diameter, which is this part, the diameter, which is this part, then plus the curved part. So perimeter is adding all these sides, and we have 2 sides. One side is flat, another part is curved. So perimeter of this semicircle is the diameter plus the curved part. So diameter plus curved part. Now the question will be, how do I find the curved part? Because the diameter is D in short, but how do we find the curved part? Like as you can see, the curved part is semicircular. It's a semicircle. Let me try to show you clearly. The curved part on a semicircle is a semicircle, is half of a circle. So how do we find this part? This part is found by taking the circumference of the circle, which is pi d, then divide by 2. I repeat myself. This part here, the part which is curved part. So, like as I said this part is diameter. And in short, it is d. And this part here is known as curved part. But the question is, how do we find the curved part? So the curved part is equal to the circumference of a circle, which is pi d, but go ahead dividing by 2, because this is not full circle, this is half of a circle. So to find the curved part, simply take pi times diameter, and then the answer you get, go ahead dividing by 2. That is the curved part. So in short, what will be the formula for perimeter of a semicircle? So perimeter of a semicircle will be equal to this diameter of a semicircle plus curved part. Curved part is pi d. The answer you get divided by 2. So that is the formula for finding perimeter of semicircle. Now let us try to refresh ourselves. We said area of a semicircle, the formula is pi r square. What is pi r square standing for? This is the formula for area of a circle. Why should I divide by 2? Because it's semicircle, as you can see there. So now you can pause this video, copy that diagram, copy this diagram. First, you have to write the title, area and perimeter of a semicircle and quarter circle. Write it like this, and then go ahead, quarter circle, and then go to the diagram, semicircle. How does a semicircle look like? This is the way how it looks like. And what are the formulas? What are the formulas for area of a semicircle? Area of a semicircle is pi r square. Why pi r square? Because pi r square is the area, is the formula used to calculate area of the circle itself. Why should I divide by 2? Because I'm looking for the area of semicircle. Come to the perimeter of semicircle. Here, remember this definition. Perimeter of any shape is add all the sides around the shape. But by default, if you check, this diameter here has 2 sides. One side is the diameter, another side is the curved part, circular part. Now, the diameter is short, so perimeter of a semicircle is diameter, which is this part here, diameter, which is this part, plus the curved part. That's the perimeter of a semicircle. So I'm gonna do perimeter of a semicircle equals to diameter plus curved part. But how do we calculate the curved part? How do we calculate the curved part of a semicircle? Curved part of a semicircle is equal to pi d. Why should I take pi d? It is because this pi d is the circumference of the whole circle. But this is not a whole circle. This is half of a circle. So I'm gonna do pi d. The answer I get, I have to divide by 2. Right, so what is the formula for perimeter of a semicircle? So perimeter of a semicircle is d, which is the diameter, plus pi d over 2. That is the perimeter of a semicircle. Now, let me go to the next part, which we call it a quarter circle. And we're gonna see the formulas. What are the formulas for calculating area and the perimeter of a quarter circle? There we go. What is the meaning of a quarter circle? So we said quarter circle is 1/4 of a circle. You know what it means? The word or the terminology 1/4 of a circle, that means I'm going to draw a circle. So go ahead, starting with, go ahead drawing the circle. Go ahead drawing the circle. So that is a circle. I've drawn multiples of circles. So take out one. So go ahead drawing a circle. So this is your circle. And then this circle, because my interest is to get quarter circle. So this, to get a quarter circle, I need to divide this circle into how many parts? Into 4 parts. So I need to divide that circle into 4 parts. Now, which part? Now, which part is referred to as semicircle? Semicircle, I have explained to you, is this part here. Now, how about quarter circle? Quarter circle is this portion you see here. Can you see that? So how many quarter circles are there? We have 4 quarter circles. We have 4 quarter circles in a circle. And when you combine all this, together, you end up getting a circle. So a semicircle and a quarter circle, they are different. Okay? They are different. So how do we draw a quarter circle? I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna delete this one here, that one there, this one here, and remain with this shape. Now that is your quarter circle. Now, how many parts are there on a semicircle? So how many parts are there on a quarter circle? Okay, so this is a quarter circle. This is a quarter circle. Now, how many parts are there? Let us try to check. There are 3 parts. A quarter circle is different from a semicircle. While a semicircle has 2 parts, one part is the diameter, another part is the curved part. So a semicircle has 2 parts, or a semicircle has 2 sides. One side is curved, another side is flat. The flat side of a semicircle is known as the diameter, and the circular part or the curved part of a semicircle is known as the curved part or a circular part. Now, going back to the quarter circle. A quarter circle has 3 parts. Quarter circle has 3 parts. What are these 3 parts? We have 2 parts which are flat. We have 2 parts which are flat. One part is here, it's flat. Another part is here, it's also flat. How do we call these 2 parts? These 2 parts are not diameter. These 2 parts are not diameter. Can you guess? Can you pause this video and tell me these 2 parts on a semicircle which are flat, what are they? I have already said that the 2 parts which are flat on a semicircle are not diameter. Guess, what are these 2 parts standing for? Now pause this video to guess this part. How do we call this part on a quarter circle and this part? Okay, once you know this part, well, this part and this part are the same. This part here and this part here are the same. So once you know the name for this part, automatically that name by default will be the name of this part there. Okay? Now we can pause the video and try to guess the name of that part, right? So I think for those who paused, I think you said that that part is your radius. That part is your radius. Okay? That part is your radius. So this is radius. This is radius. And this is also radius. Now, how about this part here, which is curved? This part, which is curved, is known as curved part or circular part. Now, what is another name? What is another name for quarter circle? Another name for a quarter circle is known as a sector. A sector. This is what we discussed yesterday. A sector. So another name for a quarter circle is a sector. So we say that a quarter circle, so we say here that a quarter circle is also known as a sector. Is also known as a sector. Okay, so that is another name for a quarter circle. Now let us see, how do we find the area of a quarter circle? So let me start with area of a quarter circle. What is a formula for area of a quarter circle? Can you try guessing the area of a quarter circle? You can pause this video and try to guess what is the area of a quarter circle. But like as I said, quarter circle means 1/4 of a circle. So what do you think will be the formula for area of a quarter circle? So area of a quarter circle is, you do the area of the full circle. Area of the full circle, the formula is pi r square. The answer you get, don't divide by 2. If you divide by 2, that is semicircle. Now you need to divide by what? You need to divide by 4. So that is the area of a quarter circle, which is pi r square divided by 4. Okay? Now, how about perimeter of a quarter circle? How about perimeter of a circle? Perimeter of a quarter circle. Perimeter of quarter circle. Now, do you remember the formula for perimeter? Regardless of being quarter circle or semicircle or perimeter of any shape. Do you remember what I said? The definition, the default definition or the default formula for the perimeter? You can pause the video and tell me what is the formula for the perimeter of any shape, regardless. So perimeter of any shape, we say perimeter of any shape, be it quarter circle, be it semicircle, be it rectangle, be it square, be it triangle, be it trapezium, be it a parallelogram, be it any shape. Perimeter of any shape is simply add all the sides. Add all sides. Don't put in your brain so many formulas of finding the perimeter of maybe rectangle, I don't know, 2L plus 2W. That will be waste of your time. Just understand that perimeter of any shape is add all sides. Now here we are talking about perimeter of a quarter circle. So I'm gonna quickly go to the quarter circle and see how many sides are there. Once I know how many sides we have in a quarter circle, then I'll go ahead adding those sides. You can pause this video and tell me how many sides can you see on a quarter circle. So if you said 3, that on a quarter circle we have 3 sides, then you guessed correct. You guessed correct. Now, so we have 3 sides. We have 3 sides. We have 3 sides on a quarter circle. So what do you guess? What do you guess will be the formula for perimeter? What do you guess will be the perimeter of a quarter circle? What do you think will be formula for perimeter of quarter circle? So perimeter of a quarter circle, the formula will be add all the sides. What are those sides? One side is here, which is radius, r. Another side is there, which is also radius, r. And another side is that circular part. Now, how do we calculate the curved part? The curved part is calculated by taking the circumference of a circle, the circumference of a circle, which is pi d. Then this pi d has to be divided by 4 because you are looking the distance from here down there. So you are looking for this distance here. So that distance will be the circumference of the whole circle, which is pi d. Then remember to divide by 4. So what will be the formula for the perimeter? What will be the formula for the perimeter of a quarter circle? I'll be going ahead adding the two radius. So r plus r plus pi d divided by 4. Let me quickly go back here. Why r plus r? Because perimeter is adding all the sides. So I'm going to take this side plus that side and also plus this side. Be careful with this side. This side is circular. So how do we find the distance on a circular part? Let's do circumference of the whole circle, which is pi d, then divided by 4 because that is quarter. Now, I think you remember that if you have two radius, this is one error, another one error. What happens? Who can tell me? What happens when you have this radius, that radius, to this radius, I'm again connecting another radius. What do you think I'm going to get? When you have one radius plus another radius, what you get is simply a diameter. So what do you think I'm going to write here? You have one error plus one error. When you have two radius, you plus them together, what you get is simply a diameter. So one error plus one error is simply a diameter. So what is the formula for perimeter of a quarter circle? The perimeter of a quarter circle is go ahead taking the diameter, then add to pi d over 4. So how did I get this d? How did I get this d? This d is a combination of two radius. If you have one radius plus another one radius, what you get a full diameter. In other words, twice the radius equals diameter. That discussion, we did it yesterday. Okay. So what is the formula for the perimeter of a quarter circle? So perimeter of a quarter circle equals to d plus pi d over 4. So perimeter of a quarter circle, its formula. Perimeter of quarter circle is r plus pi d over 4. If you don't want to use r plus r, use d, because r plus r is your diameter. So d plus pi d over 4. Now I think you have understood the formulas. Now let me jump into questions. So today's part or today's subtopic is area and perimeter of a semicircle and quarter circle, and this is where we started. Okay, so you can pause the video, especially on quarter circle. Take the notes on quarter circle. Okay, so quarter circle, I have explained to you area of a quarter circle. This is the formula, area of a quarter circle, and also I have explained to you perimeter of a quarter circle, which is adding all the sides. This was the formula. Okay. Now quickly, let me jump into questions. So I'm gonna jump into questions. So stay tuned. I'm about to start worked examples. Okay. So these are my worked examples. All right. So now let me start. Applying the formulas that we have derived. So these are worked examples. So I'm gonna do like 3 examples on these questions, and then I call it a day. Worked examples. Question. Work out the perimeter and the area of this semicircle. Can you see that we are given a semicircle? This is a semicircle. Now, what is the question? Work out the perimeter. And the area of this semicircle. Okay. So let me start with what comes first. Perimeter. Perimeter comes first. Now let me start with perimeter. What did I say on what is the default definition of perimeter? I said perimeter is simply add all sides. Add all sides. This is what it means. Perimeter is adding all sides. Now, what is the perimeter of a semicircle? I will go back to the semicircle and see how many sides are there. I have one side here, which is my diameter. That is your diameter. And also, I have, so this part here is your diameter. This part here is your diameter. So adding all the sides. So the first side is the diameter, D, plus, which one is also, which other side belongs to the semicircle? This is another side on a semicircle. So how many sides a semicircle has? A semicircle has only two sides, one being circular. And how do we calculate the length of this circular? How do we calculate the length of this circular? Go ahead taking pi d, which is diameter, pi d, which is circumference of the whole circle, and then the answer you get divided by 2, because you are looking for this part to this part, this distance here, which is half of a circle, and that distance is pi d for the whole circle, then divided by 2. So pi d divided by 2. That will be my formula. Perimeter is add all sides. Okay, now calculations. What is your D? Your D is 16. So go ahead writing D is 16 centimeter. Yes. You remember the pi I'm gonna use? The pi I'm gonna use by default, Cambridge, mark my words, Cambridge suggests to use a pi of 3.14. The 22/7, leave it aside. The 22/7, leave it for now, okay? Or sometimes they say, use the pi button. Use the pi button on your calculator. Can you see this? Can you see this? How do we use this pi button on the calculator? Is you shift here, shift that, click shift. Then after clicking shift, then you press on that button, then the pi will appear. Okay, so shift, click this button there, then your pi will appear. Okay, but as for now, let us proceed. Okay, so this will be D16 plus your pi is 3.14 times diameter. Your diameter is still D, which is 16 centimeter. Okay, so 16, so times 16 centimeters. The answer you get now, the answer, you will need to divide it by 2. Now, before I go further, take 2 by 2, 1 by 2, 8. Okay, so now how do we move on? You take, this will be equal to 16 centimeters plus 3.14 times 8 centimeters. Now, how do we move on from here? Do vertical multiplication. Slowly, don't rush things. So you take 3.14, which is this number, 3.14, multiplied by 8. See that? 3.14 multiplied by 8. Okay, so this will be 4 times 8 is 32. Carry 3. 8 times 1 is 8, add 3, 11. Then 8 times 3 is 24, so that will be 25. How many decimal places are here? 1, 2. So 1, 2 then. 32, 11, 24, 25. So what is 16 centimeter? Then add it to 25.12 centimeters. Can you see that? Now, how do we add this? This answer which we got, 25.12, this answer, we're gonna go ahead adding 16.00. When you add that, you have 1.11, carry 1, this is 3, that becomes 4. So the perimeter will be 41.12. Now don't write centimeter square. Can you see that here it is addition and not multiplication. If this was multiplication, then centimeter times centimeter, you write centimeter square. Now don't write centimeter square. Instead, you'll be writing 41.12 and just copy 1 centimeter. This is your perimeter. This is the perimeter of the semicircle. This is the perimeter of the semicircle. Okay. Now you can pause the video, take the notes clearly, starting from here. You have to start from here. You have to start. This is the question. And you have to draw nicely. This is the question with the example. Work out the perimeter and area of this semicircle. So start from there. Then go slowly, bit by bit. Copy the formula. What is the definition for perimeter? Add all the sides. Okay, adding all the sides. How many sides are there on a semicircle? We have 2 sides on a semicircle. One is flat, which is diameter. Another one is circular, which is half of a circle. And half of the circle is circumference of the circle, which is pi d over 2. Okay, then go ahead pausing slowly, pause the video, take the notes, copy them, and then we're good to go. Right, so remember, the question is work out the perimeter and area. Okay, so I'm done with the perimeter. How about area? Now, area of a semicircle is easy. Area of a semicircle is easy. So I'm going to write the formula, area of a semicircle. So I'm going to write the formula, area of a semicircle. So here, area of a semicircle. You remember the formula for the area of a semicircle? You can pause this video and try to remember, try to remind yourself on how to find area of a semicircle. But quickly, to save time, I said semicircle is half of a circle. So in that case, area of a semicircle will be area, the formula for the area of the whole circle, which is pi r square. Then go ahead and divide it by 2 because we are talking about area of semicircle. Now, the problem will be the formula for the area. The formula for the area is using radius. Is using radius, r. But surprisingly, in the question, I'm given the diameter. I'm given the diameter 16 centimeters. This is the diameter. This is the diameter. So how do we get radius from the diameter? I taught you the relationship between diameter and radius. So how do we calculate radius from diameter? Do you remember what I said? I said that if you know the diameter is 16, then you want to get the radius. So take 16 divided by 2, or just take half of 16. The answer you get will be your radius. I hope that is understood. Now, what I'm going to do, first, let me find r. Let me find r. Radius, which is r, is half of the diameter, but the diameter is 16 centimeters. So half of 16 centimeters. So this will be, in other words, take 16 centimeters. In other words, take 16 centimeters divided by 2. So my r will be 80 centimeters. This is my r. So once I know the radius, then I can go ahead with my formula. Now I know radius. That radius is 8 centimeters. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead finding the area of a semicircle. So I'm going to go ahead writing area of a semicircle. Now I'm moving with confidence that now I know the radius. So I'm going to write area of a semicircle equals to pi r squared. Pi is 3.14 times r squared, 8 squared. But do you know what does r squared mean? It means 8 centimeters times 8 centimeters, because that is your radius. Then this is your pi r squared. Can you see? Pi r squared. But do you know what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to divide by 2. So the pi r squared, go ahead dividing by 2, the whole thing. Now, how do we do this? Cut this by 1, cut this by 4. Now, this will be 3.14 multiplied by 4 centimeter, multiplied by 8 centimeter. Now go ahead, take your calculator to save time. Take your calculator and then do for me what is 3.14 times 4 times 8. And can you tell me this answer, which you'll be getting here, will it be centimeter or will it be centimeter square? I guess you said centimeter square. How did we get centimeter square? Take centimeter times centimeter. Centimeter times centimeter is centimeter square, and not centimeter. So your final answer will be dash. I want you to finish this blank and then write centimeter square. I hope you have understood how to find the area. I hope you have understood how to find the area of a semicircle. So you can go ahead pausing this video. Slowly, and then take that question, and then go slowly. Pause that part, copy it. You go slowly, copy that part, finish. Then you go slowly, copy that part, finish. Then slowly go to the conclusion. Which I said, please calculate this 3.14 times 4 times 8. Calculate this and fill your answer there. Otherwise, let me push forward to the next question. Now, the next question will be this shape here. The next question here will be this shape. You see, this is the next question. Work out the perimeter and the area of this quarter circle. Oh, we need to get number one, we need to get perimeter. And also we need to get area. Area of which shape? Area of a quarter circle. So let me start with perimeter. Can you pause this video and tell me the formula for perimeter of any shape? So take your time, think on how to find what is the formula for perimeter of any shape. So I think you said add all sides. If you said so, then congratulations. So add all sides. Okay. So that is perimeter formula by default. Okay. Now adding all the sides. Let me go now. Perimeter of this quarter circle. Add all the sides. How many sides are there? There are 3 sides. The first side is this side here. Do you know how do we call this side? This side is not the diameter. This side is the radius. Also, this side is known as the radius. But this side here is not the radius, rather is the circumference or the circular part, but it is not the full circumference, of course, it's just a quarter circumference. So do you remember the formula for the circumference of a circle? The formula for the circumference of the circle, I said, and I caught myself, is pi d. But this is not the circumference of the full circle, it's just a quarter circle. So we need to divide by 4. So what is the perimeter? Perimeter is adding all the sides. So you have 2 sides which are flat. One is R, another one is R. Then another one will be the pi d over 4. The pi d over 4. You remember that? I think you said yes. Now, the question is, how do we get this radius? This radius is given. Look at the diagram. The radius is given. The radius is this number here, 3.4. So this question, go ahead adding that perimeter equals to radius. Radius is this number from here to here, which is 3.4 centimeter. Okay, that space would not be enough because it is too lengthy. Let me write here. So perimeter of this quarter circle will be equal to radius. which is 3.4 centimeter, plus again another radius, which is 3.4 centimeter, plus the pi, 3.14 times the diameter. Now see, the diameter. Here I don't know the diameter. Here I know the radius. How do we convert? How do we get diameter from the radius? How do we get diameter? So, but we don't know diameter. How can we get diameter if we know the radius? You remember what I said? Diameter is twice the radius, meaning twice the radius. You know what it means? It means if you are looking for the diameter, take radius, multiply by 2. See that? Twice the radius. So do you know what will my diameter be? I should take this radius, which is 3.4 centimeter. That radius, which is 3.4 centimeter, should be multiplied by 2 for the diameter. Now, what will the diameter be? The diameter will be 3.4. You multiply by 2. This will be 8. This will be 6. You have one decimal place here. So this will be 6.8. So this 6.8 centimeter is your diameter. So now go back to the calculation. You have 3.4 centimeter plus 3.4 centimeter plus 3.4. This is 3.4, but this is 3.14. This is pi. Here, pi. So 3.14 times diameter, which I got it, is 6.8 centimeter. Okay. So how are we going to do this? Here we use the concept of Bodmer's. That before thinking of adding, I have first to work out what is 3.4, what is 3.14 times 6.8. I know this calculation looks huge, but try that. 3.14 times 6.8. So 3.14 times 6.8. How do we do that? So what I'm gonna do, start this way. 6 times 4, this is 24. Carry 2, 6 times 1 is 6. Add 2, that is 8. 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, so 6 times 4, 24, 8, 18. Then do 8 times 4. Okay, this is 32. That is 8, and then 11, carry 1. This is 24, 25. Can you see that? This is 2. This is 5. This is 13, carry 1. This is 10, 11, carry 1. This is 2. How many decimal places are there? I have 1 here, I have 2 there. So total will be 3 decimal places. So 1, 2, 3. Keep a decimal point there. See that? Now go ahead. This will be, perimeter will be equal to 3.14 centimeter plus 3.4 centimeter. Sorry, this is not 3.14. This is 3.4. Sorry for that. 3.4 centimeters plus again 3.4 centimeters. Now, do you remember the answer we got here after multiplying? We got 21. We got 21.352. 0.352 then centimeter. Now, you can go ahead adding this number, and that number using a calculator and see what you're gonna get. Otherwise, I'm gonna leave this blank for your homework. Add this one using a calculator quickly. And then after adding all this, the answer will be, can you tell me, is the answer going to be centimeter square or centimeter? Pause this video and reply to that, and then play the video to see if your answer was correct. So if you have centimeter, pause this and tell me, is the answer going to be centimeter square or centimeter? Now, since we are adding, we are not multiplying here. Since we are adding, the answer will be in centimeter because we are adding. We are not multiplying. So the answer will be centimeter. So go ahead calculating what is the answer here, and then leave that answer as a centimeter. Okay. Now, finally, I have a homework for you. But before that, how do we copy the notes? Because students, some students, I really think a lot of students, they know how to capture the notes from the video and then they put them on the counter book. I should be appreciating those students who are neatly copying the notes from the video to the counter books. I really appreciate them. There's plenty of them, almost 90%, 86%, they're managing. But few of them, they are still struggling. Okay, now, how do we copy? Copy the question, take all that, and then go ahead, putting the calculations there in place, and then go ahead concluding that, and then we're good to go. So that is perimeter. This is what? Perimeter. Can I show you area of quarter circle? Yes, of course. Area of quarter circle. Can you hear the way how it is sounding? Area of a quarter circle. Now, area of a quarter circle. Area of a quarter circle. So here, area of a quarter circle. Quarter circle. Depends on the circle itself. Depends on the circle itself. Do you know the area of a circle? Yes, of course. The area of a circle is pi r squared. Now, can you combine the word quarter? Means divide by 4. This is the area of a quarter circle. Now, how do we move on? You take 3 point, take your pi. You take your pi, which is, according to Cambridge, it should be 3.14. What is your radius? Radius now, you are lucky. Radius is here. Radius is this one. This is your radius. 3.4. Sorry for that confusion again. 3.4 is your radius. So go ahead multiplying the radius here. The radius is 3.4, but has to be squared. Answer you get divided by 4. Now, what does 3.4 square mean? It means you have your 3.14, which is pi, times you have your 3.4. Square means multiplied by 3.4. Then over 4. Now, how do we multiply this? How do we multiply this? Help me get the calculator. Take this 3.14 times 3.4 times 3.4. You see that? Multiply those. The answer you get, divide by 4. Now, who can tell me, is the final answer going to be centimeter or centimeter square? Remember, your 3.4, which is your radius, the radius was in a centimeter. Can I show you? This is centimeter. So when you have this, can you see this? 3.4, when you have this in centimeter, when you have this in centimeter, can you see that when you multiply 2 centimeters, centimeter times centimeter, can you see that you will get a centimeter square? Because centimeter times centimeter is centimeter square. So go ahead putting here the answer. Please do this working. How do we do this working? Take 3.14 times 3.14 times 3.4 times 3.4. The answer you get divided by 4. That answer will be in centimeter square. Finally, homework. What will be the homework for my students? The homework for my students will be this question here. The homework for my students will be this question here. This is the question. Here is a semicircle with radius 5.5 centimeters. Here is a semicircle with radius. So you are given the radius. Work out the perimeter of the circle. Work out the perimeter. So I want you people to go ahead calculating the perimeter, only the perimeter, because I know you're tired. So this will be your homework. So until next time, Zabron here, Alimuntazir Islamic Seminary Teacher, Girls Room. Bye-bye. Take this homework. Very important, very beneficial. Try that, and then let me know if you have got some doubts. Otherwise, bye-bye. Remember to take the notes, submit your books to to me for marking the next day. All right, so bye-bye for now. All the best. Stay safe.